it's Lisa from Beyond Authentic with another deck review. So this is the Rebel Witches Tarot in quite a decent sized box. Let me just see who it's by. It's by Ixia Press and it's $24.95 in the USA. I'll put the details of where my husband actually got it from on the screen because I believe it was from Amazon. Now, the first thing I have to say, this is the most ridiculous and annoying deck box that I have ever come across in nearly 30 years of tarot, because it opens at the bottom. Whoever thought this was a good idea, please contact me, because it just slides straight out. So as you've got it on the shelf and you pull this particular one out, as you can see, it just slides out. So I have had this is what happens. It's the most annoying design ever. Anyway, that being aside, it's a really tough box. So, you know, if it had opened at the top, so as you're pulling it out, it just needs that. That's all it needs. That is literally, look, that's all it needs, right? Have the design reversed. Sit on your shelf quite happily, pull it off the shelf. It doesn't go anywhere. Anyway, we don't buy them for the boxes, do we? But, you know, when you're paying 20 quid for a deck, 25 quid for a deck, whatever it is, you kind of don't want it falling all over the floor. This is a deck by Cecilia Latari and illustrations by Tianqi Chen. Hopefully I've said that correctly. So onto the cards. Let's have a look. They come in a box inside the box, which is useful because it means you can just carry this around without carrying the whole box. But it does obviously mean then you don't have the book to access. So let's have a look at these. I think this is the first time I'm looking at these cards. So first impression, they are very, very reflectively shiny. I wasn't aware of that. Look at that. You see my ring light there. Cardstock is pretty good. Not the thickest, not the thinnest. It's kind of a standard, sort of standard tarot, really, like a low Scarabeo type feel to it. I like the back. I like the fact that it can be reversed or upright and you wouldn't know. So then let's go through the deck. So we'll start as always with the majors. So we've got there, look, we've got the full Innocent Witch, perhaps, the Magician. I'm sure these are going to be depicting people or situations. Oh, the High Priestess is a moth. That's interesting. A moth at a bar for the High Priestess. Okay. The Empress. And she's just quite casually going about her business with all the designer shopping bags. To me, that does read of abundance. Do you know what I mean? That high fashion with the sunglasses on, the hair, the makeup, and walking down whatever, I want to say Fifth Avenue, but it obviously isn't. Some amazing New York street. It really does feel as if she's been burning that credit card a little bit, melting that plastic. The Emperor. Ooh, now that's interesting. The Hierophant, the Guru. The Lovers. The Chariot. Strength. The Hermit. Interesting. The Wheel of Fortune. Everybody's smoking cigarettes. You just need the little glasses of whiskey, then it would almost be like a speakeasy, wouldn't it? Back in the day. Justice. Oh, that's got to be a Harry Potter reference, doesn't it? Is that what that symbol's from? Not saying anything about that. The Hanged Man. Almost get a reference to the Wizard of Oz there with the ruby slippers and the stripy tights. Not sure about the knickers though. Death. Now that's an interesting depiction. That's very cool. I like the two faces of death. Temperance. We've got a nun. What is it this nun is mixing? And what is on their head? Almost looks like a nun mixed with a Dalek. Oh, and they've got wings. I hadn't spotted that. That's very interesting. The devil. I'm getting Anne Boleyn vibes, something like that. I know I'm probably completely mixing up my history, but it's got that sort of vibe to it. In fact, shall we have a look? I'm just gonna have a little look and see why the devil is depicted that way. Here we go. Anne Boleyn, yes, I was right, who became the Queen of England and caused a religious schism, was a woman of extraordinary charisma. She was the second wife of King Henry VIII, who in a male-dominated world stifled her drive to assert her political ambitions by condemning her to the gallows. The devil is a card signifying oppression and liberation. It represents our fears and addictions, emotional, social, physical, and holds the key to conquering them. It is important to remain pure and true to oneself, even when condemned to the gallows by the world. Like Anne Boleyn, who was a woman, a courtesan, and a queen without having to manipulate anyone. Today, we remember her as one of history's first feminist icons. Her only daughter, Elizabeth, became one of England's most influential queens. Absolutely, absolutely. So I was right with that, it being Anne Boleyn. I do know a little bit about history, you see. That's exactly what she looked like in her photo from the time. Yep, that's what it was. The Tower. Okay. Again, I feel that this deck is a deck you need to do a bit of research on, as to who the people are depicted. Star. The moon. The sun. Judgment. Again, probably historical figures. These are all probably historical figures. But the pen as the sword. Now that's going to be an interesting reference to something, I'm sure. And the world, cradling the earth as if it was a baby in arms. Anyway, let's have a look. So the Ace of Swords. So we're starting off with the suit of swords. Are these all going to be pens? Are swords just representative of pens and quills? I think so. Yes, look at that. 3 of Swords are 3 pens. Very pseudo-traditional basis on the 3 of Swords card, the Heartbreak card. The 4 of Swords. The 5. 6. Often see that boat image, don't we, for the 6. The 7. The 8. It's interesting. The 9 of Swords. The sleeplessness. And then the 10 of Swords. Ooh, not quite stabbed in the back as you would see quite often with the 10. And then we're going to have characters for the court cards. So yes, Mary Shelley, I get that look, because you've got Frankenstein's monster in the background. The Knight of Swords. The Queen of Swords. And the King of Swords. I probably should recognize some of these characters, but then we've got Pentacles. So we've got the Ace, a new start, but we've also got the Maze. Look at that. You start, and how you move through life is like a maze, isn't it? The 2 of Pentacles. The 3. The 4 of Pentacles. The 5. That's doubling down on that traditional image, isn't it? The stained glass window, or stained glass door in this case. And then the people outside, and you can see this one. I think it depicts a homeless person carrying all of their possessions in a cart. Wow. The 6. What a different image. Straight away, look. Very, very different image. You can see this Jug is being poured magically. The 7. The 8 of Pentacles. Lights on. Is it evening time? Have they been working all day and into the night? The 9 of Pentacles. Look at that. And then the 10. We quite often see generations for the 10 of Pentacles. And then again, these will probably represent people. I've got no idea who they are without going through the book again. So the Page of Pentacles, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. And then we've got the Suit of Cups. So we've got the Ace of Cups. The 2 of Cups. Ooh, more friendship than romance here. I like that depiction though. The 3 of Cups. It's like a coffee morning, or possibly tea, because we've got the slice of lemon there. But for me, it would have to be coffee. The 4 of Cups. The 5. Interesting. So instead of having 3 spilt empty cups, we've got 2 empty cups and 3 that have the remnants of something in, but we've got the bottle there with plenty in. The 6 of Cups. The 7 of Cups. Gifts and choices traditionally with the card, but we've got a magician with a hat full of coffee cups. Now I can appreciate that, as long as that's not boba. I can appreciate all of that coffee. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I'll have it all. The 8 of Cups. Are these those red cups, those party cups you get? Looks like it, doesn't it? We don't have those in the UK as such. The 9 of Cups. And then the 10 of Cups. We've got a very boring rainbow there, look, but we've got lots of coffee, so I'm happy. And the Page of Cups. The Knight of Cups. I don't know why, but I'm getting a Courtney Love vibe about this card. Yeah, not sure. I'm not going to go back through the book, but that sort of vibe anyway. The Queen of Cups. And then the King of Cups. That's got to be Bowie, doesn't it? Or some version of a Bowie-esque character. That's got to be David Bowie. Just the hair and the sort of psychedelia element of it. Anyway, the Ace of Wands. The 2 of Wands. Going to do some fire breathing. And then you've got the factories or whatever it is there pumping out pollution, it looks like. We've got the 3 of Wands. The 4 of Wands. The 5 of Wands. The 6. I'm getting Monica in Friends when she was a chef vibes. Again, don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's the vibe I'm getting from that one. The 7 of Wands. The 8 of Wands. Now that's really interesting. I refer to this as them being thrown out, different elements of your life that are thrown up in the air, and you get to pick up the ones and reshape them as you move towards the 9. There is the 9 of Wands. I wish I had the magical ability to do the washing up without having to actually do it. Although it does look like it's taking a lot of effort. Maybe it's just easier to get the rubber gloves out. And then we've got the 10 of Wands. 9 is full, 10 is overflowing. Look at that. It's definitely overflowing. Too many utensils there. And then let's have a look. The Page of Wands. The Knight of Wands. The Queen of Wands. And the King of Wands. So, an interesting deck. One that I think you're going to need a little bit of practice to read, actually. Just from the symbolism is a little bit different. I know it's loosely based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, but I don't think this is a deck for beginners. Also, a bit like the Unfolding Path deck, although this feels very, very different, this does still feel very feminine and feminist energy, which I know is part of the deck. That is who the rebels were, the rebel witches were. It's talking about icons in the feminist movement. I'm obviously a very bad feminist that I don't immediately recognize the images in the court cards there. Surprisingly, it's not too bad to shuffle. Quite often with a shiny, glossy deck, it can be a little bit annoying at times to try and shuffle. They're quite bendable, if you like. There's quite a bit of sort of bounce on them, so they feel like they'll be relatively easy to bend back in position if you riffle shuffle a bit poorly. So let's have a little look at the book. So it says the Rebel Witches Tarot. Contents. People who start. It says the Rebel Witches, people who started the revolution. This deck was inspired by all the people who, in one way or another, acted unconventionally in pursuing their craft, their wisdom, and their way of being, starting with ancient witches such as Circe, or herbalists and scholars like such as Hildegard of Bingen. Hopefully I've said that right. All the way to Julia Butterfly Hill, the young woman who chose to live in a large tree to oppose deforestation. The cards are also dedicated to those whom history has forgotten for belonging to an ethnic or gender minority. Likewise, the deck contains men. They too are witches. If we recognize all those who had the courage to carry out an unusual and luminous feat that continues to shine across years and centuries. There's some very long sentences here. Anyway, this work is dedicated to all those healers, prophets, musicians, and scholars who had to fight to have their voices heard. Specifically, even though she is not in the deck, I dedicate this tarot to Bell Hooks, the writer, activist, and feminist who claimed the margins as a space of power, belonging, and awareness. The tarot, with its imaginative language that still speaks to us today, is just as defiant because it's unclassifiable, changeable, always new, and above all, capable of expressing a different outlook, helping anyone who comes across it to find inspiration and beauty along their life's path. Then it says, yep, it contains 78 cards, 22 major and 40 minor, and 16 court cards. Right, okay, that makes sense. My brain didn't calculate that properly then. And it says the meaning of the cards is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith. The cards of the major arcana are numbered from 0 to 21. They begin with the Fool, the 0 in the moment when everything is possible, and end with 21, the world, namely the point of arrival and starting over. We've got a little bit about the suits, and then we've got the majors. So you get a full picture to try and study, and then what, a paragraph? So almost standard little white book kind of elements, which is a shame because there's a lot of blank space here. You know what I mean? I guess I could always write my own notes. And then we've got some keywords: novelty, discovery, a new beginning, and origin for the Fool. Now that's interesting. It says here that the Lovers card is supposed to be Willow and Tara from Buffy. I didn't get that at all. Obviously, they've had to not use the actresses' likenesses. I did not get that element at all from the Lovers. That's really interesting, isn't it? And I'm a massive Buffy fan. It's such a shame that there's a Harry Potter based card in here, because for me, JK is BS. And I don't want anything to do with JK Rowling. I'm definitely going to have to go through and really try and read up on who these people are. So then, in summing up, I think this is a very well-intentioned deck, put it that way. I love the attempt to celebrate the lives of feminists and people that would have been deemed as outsiders throughout history. I really do genuinely like that. I do feel, though, as a tarot deck, it's a little bit difficult because some of these, well, look, the devil card is a prime example. Anne Boleyn as the devil. I can see when you read the little piece about her, I can see how that depiction would come up. However, for me, the devil is about those chains that bond, and the devil's in the details. And yes, I can understand that the intentions of this deck are to show the cards as being the rebel rousers. Maybe it's my lack of historical knowledge. I don't know how Anne Boleyn would be considered the devil. So I think the author totally understands the characters and the people that they've used to portray the deck. And I'm sure it is deeply meaningful for them. But you would have to have historic knowledge of, 7,000 years ago through to pop culture for Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and also Tara and Willow that don't really look that much like Tara and Willow from Buffy, even to a major Buffy fan, you know what I mean? So overall, I think it's a nice deck. I think it's got a very strong message from the creators, and they really do have a sense of embracing and celebrating the lives of the people that they've chosen to be in here and to be depicted. However, for me, it's going to take a bit too much study and remembering who all of these people are and why they are important within the feminist world for me to be able to actually get that connection to use it as a workable tarot deck. Added to that, this box just pisses me off every single time I move it because it falls out of the... It just does that every single time. So for me, I'm actually tempted to move this one on out of my collection, which is a real shame because I thought it would be right up my street. But there you go. That is my honest opinion on the Rebel Witches Tarot deck. You've heard my ramblings. Let me know your thoughts about the Rebel Witches Tarot down in the comment section. If you want to get your own copy, there is a link down in the description box. It is an affiliate link, so I do make a couple of pence commission or whatever it is. Don't forget, if you are looking for a tarot reading, you can find me here on YouTube every Tuesday and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. UK time, and also on Thursday evenings for a late shift at 11:45 p.m. UK time, quarter to midnight UK time. Apart from that, I'll put a link down in the description box as well where you can find me online. Just look for beyondauthentic.co.uk. There's links there if you want to get a personal one-to-one tarot reading. But that is going to be it for me today. And as I always say, stay you, stay true, stay authentic, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.